Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order in Jefferson School District 14J on April 12th at 6:30. Start off with flags.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have roll call. Melissa?
Here.
Kate?
Here.
Tracy? Here. Julie Robbins is not here. Vice Chair Martin. Okay, review and adjust and approve the agenda consent items.
Could you pull the update off? Just wanted to have more information about that. I think that's the first thing. Is that this good? I wanted to ask questions before the.
Yeah. Is that okay? We'll pull that off and put that into new business. Okay, so we're gonna put that health and safety school plan update under F. No, A, B, C, D, E.
I have a request that you read
Oh,
G. I move that we accept the agenda and the consent item as now presented, with F being pulled and move to E under new business.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to accept the consent item with F being pulled and put under new business to E. So before I do that, I'd like to read publicly this Teacher Appreciation Week. This is resolution number 2020-21. And it is on the consent items, but I'd just like to read it so the public can hear it. Teacher Appreciation Week. Teacher Appreciation Week is observed annually during the first full week in May. In 2021, this week is the week of May 3rd. Whereas teachers mold future citizens through guidance and education. And whereas teachers encounter students of widely and differing backgrounds. And whereas our country's future depends upon providing quality education to all students. And whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling, and coaching students in performing community service. And whereas our community recognizes, supports its teachers in educating the children of this community. Now therefore be it resolved that the Jefferson School District 14J Board of Directors proclaim May 3rd through the 7th of 2021 to be Teacher Appreciation Week. And be it further resolved that Jefferson School District 14J Board of Directors strongly encourage all members of our community to join in with it in personally expressing appreciation to our teachers for their dedication and devotion to work. Okay, with that being read, and it's moved and seconded, is there any other further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Tracy? Aye. Dewey? Aye. Kate?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. And noted that Dewey came in at 6:31. Okay. Okay, Tracy, do you have something else?
Nope, you just took your
Okay, spotlight on education. Kathy.
I'm going to just introduce the topic here. Kathy and I are doing this together. I've asked Kathy to present tonight on the progress we're making with the Wyoming Career Academy. Some really exciting developments here. As you know, expanding career and technical education is a very strong priority for me and for our team. And a couple of years ago, reached out to an investor to see if they might invest here at Jefferson and build something like this here. And where the investor wasn't interested in doing that at that time, came back later and said, hey, that might be an interesting idea to expand beyond Salem CTE and put it, so brought it to the ESD and said, hey, you know, we're interested in potentially having a regional center for other districts that can include other than Salem Kaiser. And so I was part of a committee that went around the different CTE buildings around the state in Washington and looked at different programs and then contributed to the discussion of building this right here. And so all along, Jefferson has been a very active participant in this work. And then I asked Kathy to take over and lead it. And so she's been going to the meetings and it is now taking shape and Kathy's here to present what that shape's looking like. Thank you.
And it's really, really exciting work. And Amber, I'm gonna have you advance to the next slide. You can see this building, which is now the Willamette Career Academy. It may look familiar to you. It's the old Toys R Us store, and it was purchased on behalf of the WESD and the 11 co-owner school districts. We are one of those 11. This academy will be opening in the fall of 2021 with 3 career tracks: health services, diesel mechanics, and cosmetology. And phase 1 will be complete very soon, and then phase 2 will begin, and those programs will be for manufacturing, construction and pre-engineering, and informational technology. Very, very exciting to be part of. How we get slots in the program, it is based on our ADMW, and there is a cost per student per year. And the first slots are open to the co-owner schools. And so Jefferson will have 9 slots in this upcoming year and 17 in the secondary year. The slots cost about $4,500 per student for next year and $3,700 per student the year after that. And they think that the costs will go down and not up, which is different than most programs because there are many, many active businesses and legislators who are interested in funding this. In fact, they have asked for $6.9 million of the American Recovery Act, and there are 17 senators and representatives who have put us on their priority list, so it's pretty exciting. Here you can see some of the inside work, and this is an old picture, but there is a lot of work now. And like I said, we plan to take possession of the building May 6th. Very, very exciting. We did just get a $1 million gift from Larry and Jeanette Epping, and the Daimler Chrysler Corporation just gave us 2 diesel semis for the diesel shop, valued at $120,000. There's also a lot of $5,000 and $10,000 gifts coming in. Really, really exciting. The next slide is the vision and mission, and I've been given the opportunity by Brad to serve on the committee that has written the vision and the mission, has decided on what career and technical programs we wanted to start. And we work with Chuck Ransom, who is a retired Woodburn superintendent. We work with Keith Ussery, who's the WESD representative. We work with Salam Noor, who represents Mountain West, the investment company. And we've just hired Johnny Farrow. She is the new principal of the WCA. We keep moving ahead. This might be a little more than you want to know, but this is how the credit breakdowns will happen. And we will come to you very soon because we will have to have a new Jefferson High School diploma, one that includes WCA credits and how that looks. So be watching for that. But Jefferson High School students that attend WCA are Jefferson High School students. The WCA is not a school, it is a program. So those students will be ours. We will collect their ADM and then we will pay for their enrollment. Pay for the enrollment can come out of a lot of funds. This year, for this upcoming year, we have carryover high school success dollars, and so that'll take care of those entrance fees. One of the interesting side notes is that there are many schools who now want to buy slots. And so these slots will become a valuable commodity. Private schools, homeschool students, and schools that have not invested in as one of the 11 schools. Cosmetology, you all know what that is, cosmetology and barbering. There is one high school currently that teaches barbering, the program of study, and it's McLaren. And they have a lot of successful kids come out of McLaren and become barbers. So it's pretty exciting. And students will come out of these programs if they do the 2-year with a license or state certification. So it's a leg up for any student who wants to do it. Diesel technology. I don't know a lot about diesel technology and can't speak very knowledgeably about it, but these students will not have a certification coming out of the WCA, but they will have preferential enrollment into Chemeketa where they can get the certification. And I think that the automotive industry is very, very supportive of the WCA because they are always trying to find qualified people who can do the mechanics in their shop. Health services is another program for this year. These students will come out with a BCNA, which is a basic CNA, and there are several hospital systems that are interested in having these people come and do all kinds of the real hands-on things. That is a quick overview. Do you have a, oh yeah, question?
The question is on which of the programs do the students need to attend both years in order to get the certification?
All programs are really anticipated to be 2-year programs, but they are going to allow for preferential enrollment into Chemeketa for anybody who is a senior next year but wants to start in that career field. But from here on out, they really will be looking for juniors who want to spend their last 2 years of high school there. Melissa.
So, the Salem Kaiser CTE program has, like, they have a, maybe a couple similar type programs. They were maybe finding stuff in our area, in our community. So, I was curious if some of those were chosen because, you know, there's stuff I, we went from intro, technology that's, and then having toured that campus, and it's pretty large compared to the way for us. Curious how, like, having seen an auto shop, how space is going to work for that, and there's a space if there's expansion plan.
We've really worked with Cascadia Technology, which is right across the state line in Washington, and with CTEC. So Jim Worth served on this regional subcommittee with us who runs CTEC. This does not have the potential to be that big, but I don't think anybody expected it to take off the way that it has. So they're already thinking, what can we do next? Where can we go next? And if you know, the Toys R Us parking lot is really, really big, so there's an opportunity to potentially build there. As far as the programs of study that CTEC offers, I believe they're up to 10 or 12 programs. We can swap seats with Salem Kaiser. So that will be an option. Salem Kaiser always fills their cosmetology, and they may want to buy 3 open seats. The only way they can do that is if they will take 3 of our students, the 11 school districts, into one of their programs. So we do have some leverage with this, and it's just really exciting. Students have to apply by April 30th, so that date is coming up very quickly. As of Thursday, 143 students had already applied, not from Jefferson, but from the 11 schools. And I know of 4 Jefferson students who have already applied. This week, we're really pushing it out a lot heavier. And so we're hoping to get our 9 students who are interested especially with our automotive program, that's where we think that the biggest draw for our kids will be.
Oh, I also maybe two more questions. So Salem Kaiser, when they first got out and moved their high school, they had to do it wide, they moved to a block type schedule. So they could accommodate that and make sure the students could, do their couple days on campus, for the, for their tech stuff, and then they could be at their home campus for the other days. What kind of scheduling or what kind of shifts are you guys anticipating as to make this work for?
I cut that slide out because I thought it might bore you guys, but I can talk to you about it. There will be 2 cohorts a day. So students will go in the morning or in the afternoon. And the smallest schools will get to pick if they want to send all of their kids in one time slot. We also have some big schools like Woodburn who are part of this 11 school co-ownership. And so we do have the schedules. And some of the high schools, we won't go to block, but there will be opportunity to earn credit by proficiency if there's a class that they can't take at their high school. But we'll work around that. And some of it we will learn as we move forward in it. But one of the things that we've been talking about is if students need to get English credit while on the bus to Salem, this year with distance learning, we figured out ways to do that. And so we're much more flexible on the back end than we were at the front end, and all because of COVID.
I just say too that the diesel mechanics piece is something that we're really excited about because that was something that we were going to start here. And so Kathy and I had talked about how can we build our diesel mechanic program here. And now because they're doing it, we can just now send our students there and it can roll that much quicker. So that's going to be really a good thing for us.
Okay. Co-ownership. Can you, I mean, what does that really mean? When you say co-ownership, I mean, to me, ownership is, are we just vested through our students or are we, is this a cost of the district type thing other than enrollment? Or, when you say co-ownership, it confuses me.
Okay, well, that was a terminology that they rolled out at our meeting on Thursday, that they are considering us co-owners because of our investment, what we have invested. This project is pretty self-sustaining now, and especially with the size and number of gifts coming in. I don't know anything beyond that. That's probably at Brad's level, but I think that we had to pay our initial, whatever that was, and now it should be self-sustaining according to enrollment.
We used JSD resolution funds for that were earning and earmarked them for this project here, which most of the other school districts do that as well. Okay.
Thank you. So I have a question, Kathy or Brad. Say we have a homeschool student who wants to enroll. Are they able to?
They would be able to, and this is another idea by the subcommittee, and that is if a homeschool student wants a slot, they have to register with their school district. And then the school district would still receive the ADM, which would then pay for the slot. But a homeschool student will not be able to go and purchase a slot like they go and purchase something at Target. We're working out some of those details because there are a variety of ways to do it where you could swap slots. And they found out in Washington that when they allowed schools just to randomly swap slots, things like diesel mechanics became, I'll give you 2 diesel mechanics for 5 cosmetology, and things started to go a little wonky. And so there'll be very firm rules about how slots get sold and what happens.
I guess my thought about that homeschoolers is how would they know about it? So if somehow, if we could put this on our website.
Yeah. We just put it out in the last Jefferson Connect for that reason, because it may be a way to re-engage our homeschool community.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Kathy. Okay, reports, financial report, Kathy.
Did you guys have any questions in regards to our reports? Most of our taxes are coming in. We have one more payment for property taxes, and that's usually May, if people pay a third at a time. November, February, and May. Yeah.
Second page of the legal size.
Yep. Page 19.
Line item, support function 2148,
2148.
psychological services.
Yep.
94,000 in the bed.
Yes, it's because when we did our budget, we budgeted for a behavior consultant under 2140.
Mhm.
And we were able to get a psychologist from Willamette ESD, and we're paying, we used a portion of our local service plan money with Willamette ESD, and the other amount is our contracted amount.
Okay, so the difference between psychological services and behavioral consultant, what does that have to do with,
We thought,
I know that there's 94,000 that, was slated for behavioral consultant.
Uh-huh.
But we didn't have anything sitting there in the books for psychological services. But don't those two line items actually work together with each other?
if we hired a behavior consultant this year, that's what that money was allotted for. But instead, we got a psychologist from Willamette ESD.
Okay,
And I just have them coded differently because they are different professions. And when I upload the actuals to the state of Oregon to ODE, they want to make sure that we're paying for, we have an accounting code that we have to follow. So we have to code them accordingly. And since this is a psychology services, not behavior consultant, even though we didn't budget for it there, it just wipes it out.
okay,
Yeah, it rolls out.
okay.
Yeah. Good
Thank
question.
you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Was that it?
Yeah, yeah. Unless there's any other questions.
Does anybody else have a question from that? Okay, you have it in your hand.
My hand. For the audit check piece that we to do. Question 11, which says, has the accounting software and related IT service system been subject to a review by an IT professional to ensure a seamless backup in event of malware, ransomware, or other compromises to the computer security?
What I know is LBL monitors the backup on a daily basis. They take the backup and they take it off-site. So if we ever had to back it up, we can do that. As far as the in-depth of technology portion of it, I know Chris is he's very technical on that. I couldn't really answer those questions. He would have to answer them.
He's been partnering with the ESD and the technology department, and they've come out and provided support.
Cybersecurity.
Mhm.
Yep.
With that, we're gonna move on to superintendent update. Oh, you have one, I'm sorry.
I was gonna ask, are there, number 12, are there any other financial related materials, or, I'm sorry, financial related matters?
Not at this point. It's been the same, we're getting our revenue from our state school fund, we're getting our taxes. We haven't lost any employees. Nothing substantial, no.
Superintendent update, Brad.
Good evening, Chair Kalani, the board. I want to begin tonight by saying that our hybrid model for bringing students back to in-person instruction has been very successful. Our health and safety measures have been implemented with tremendous success, including our daily screening of students, our distancing measures, masking, cohorting, sanitizing, and providing COVID tests when necessary. Everyone knows the expectations and are following them, which is keeping everybody safe. Students are enjoying being back in class and they are benefiting from being in small class sizes. They receive more individual attention, and the time they are using in class is very focused, productive, and well spent. Students spend part of their day in class and part of the day studying and learning from home. While some districts opted to open 2 days a week, we had our students in grades K-8 coming 4 days a week for half days from the very beginning. We did this so that students can develop a routine of coming to school almost every day. Learning is more productive when we have established routines and when students have more frequent exposure to their teachers. We know that wearing masks all day is hard and fatigue can set in. Also, being at home for a year, students need to build their stamina in coming back and learning in a structured environment. By having students in school 3 hours a day, 4 days a week, students have made a successful transition and fatigue has not been an issue. Teachers of younger children have commented, however, that they are happy students have had the opportunity to transition back because they see their students getting really tired and the idea of wearing a mask all day is difficult for many. Likewise, while other larger districts in the valley are just now beginning to bring back high school students 2 days a week, we have had our students back since March 8th. Our high school students have credit requirements and their time must be structured differently, but they are back in person and actively participating in class. In my walks around the classrooms, I see happy students and happy adults. Students are glad to be back in school with their friends and learning from their teachers in person. Adults are pleased to have kids in the buildings once again. Our students are doing a wonderful job of following the guidelines, and we have been fully open, meaning that all 3 levels have been back at school now for going on 6 weeks without incident. We are in a good routine where teachers feel successful in delivering both in-person instruction and supporting those remaining at home. They are working hard preparing for their classes and filming and posting videos, following up with students online. Students are in a good routine, they are learning, and they are happy to be back in school. But above all, people feel safe that our system is in good rhythm and being successfully implemented. And as a leader of a district during a pandemic, this is really welcome. As you know, right before spring break, the governor relaxed the 6 feet requirement that needs to be around each student and made it a recommendation for districts where the metrics fall below 200 in a county case rate. Currently, we qualify to move in this direction, even though Marion County is a high-risk county. At this time, we are evaluating the pros and cons of making this major change with 2 months remaining in the school year. Changing course now will provide increased challenges to logistics and increased risk of exposure and spread of infection. For example, health screenings will take longer and delay the start of school each day. Lunches will be difficult to maintain proper distancing requirements. Testing students in secure lab environments that are cleaned and sanitized properly will be very difficult, and the testing plans will have to be reconfigured. Outside recess will present health and safety complications. Rooms will all have to be reconfigured, and the master schedules will all have to be redone once again. Our sanitizing plan will have to be changed. Busing and transportation will have to be changed as well. Teacher workloads will be impacted as they plan for more students and longer days, but will need to somehow continue to support students in CDL, comprehensive distance learning. Having stated that, however, I will be continuing to investigate the feasibility of moving in this direction. My plan is to continue listening to staff, administrators, and district leadership to understand the impact of making this change and then getting a letter out to the community. We will be evaluating our high school model and making decisions there too. And I'm going to have a decision and a letter out to the community late this week or early next week. Finally, whichever direction we go, I want to reemphasize the positive. The fact that our students have been in school since March 8th, 4 half days a week in grades K-8, we think is a huge success. That was 3 weeks before the governor required 8%. Many high schools are just now starting either this week or last week when we have been back for almost 6. Our students are learning and catching up with lost ground. Our teachers are adept at teaching in person and online, and our delivery of instruction is working while safety is being maintained. Before we move on to the next subject, are there questions around that?
I would like to see us move faster to full days. I'm getting input from families that our high school students are basically 1 day a week, which isn't really a lot. And we have districts that are around us that are doing the full days. So I understand that there are challenges around that our other districts are facing, that we would face in addition to that. And I appreciate how we worked for the safety of our students and our staff, our teachers and our administrators. I'd really like to see us either get back to some full days or something more than the equivalent of 1 day a week. The impacts on education and growth and mental health are pretty huge.
Any other questions? Briefly, we'll be having a 4-week summer school beginning June 28th and going to July 23rd. Teachers have been hired already and are in the very beginning phases of planning and designing the program. We sent a survey to parents last week seeking interest in the program. And as we get results of the survey, we're going to have a better understanding of how many students to expect. Right now, we have 37 that have indicated an interest. And that's across the grade levels. So 1 program at each level. So more to come on that as that develops. Our equity work is continuing. I recently provided staff with a video expressing my why behind the efforts, and the principals led them through an exercise to get their thoughts. Next week, the Oregon Center for Educational Equity will be presenting to all staff on implicit bias. The District Equity Committee is engaged in this work as well, and we'll be conducting a book study together and talking about next steps for next year following this presentation. At some point, we will be seeking out more student voice and participation. Our hope is to begin that next year when all students are back, hopefully, full time. You saw in the high school report graduation, just wanted to briefly mention that too, that we're making plans for an in-person graduation, investigating venues in different counties to see where we can have as many people as possible attend. That's kind of we're just kind of waiting to see what the metrics are going to look like and what our options are. But Kathy and her team are working on that. We'll be giving lots of information as we know it. Update on testing. In my report last week, I gave an update on testing, but since then, the state has received a little bit of information. So the waiver that now remember, for state testing, the SBAC, Oregon put in a waiver to not test this year because of COVID. It's just, when you finally get kids back in school, and then the idea of spending several weeks testing them, is something that the Oregon Department of Education was trying to say this is not the year for that. Let's push, and see if we can postpone. The federal government pushed back and said no, and so the waiver was kind of going back and forth. So our waiver was conditionally approved, and what that means is that we still have to do the testing. So, but the tests are going to be shorter, and the kids don't have to take as many. It's normal. So it's kind of a compromise with the U.S. Department of Education. So in preparation, our team has made detailed plans for how to roll out testing in May. Some of it starting with the Alpha, so starting in April, but for the SBAC testing, that we have a calendar already set. The trainings are taking place. We're going to be ready. We're going to do it. Parents do have an opt-out option. So we will be sending out a letter to parents this week, letting them know that testing is going to happen and giving them their rights both to opt out of the test, but also there are some optional tests that they can opt into. And so if parents choose to say, hey, my kid only has to take the ELA test, but I want them to take the math test, they can ask for that, and we can include them in that test as well. So we'll be in the process of letting folks know all that now that we have an answer from the almost done here, but any questions so far? Any of that?
Going back to the implicit bias piece, Brad.
Uh-huh.
General assessment, your general assessment of that, in regards to the buy-in through the district in this process and this program. How do you feel that's going?
So it's going really well. And I think part of the reason that we had our meeting last week, the professional development with our staff, was to kind of assess, to try to slow down and say, where are we with this and why are we doing it? Why are we walking down this path? And where and how do we, what is our why? And so what I did is I talked a little bit about equity and why we're walking down this path, what it means for our kids, what does all mean, all means all, what does that mean? And these guys led a nice discussion following a protocol called Says Means Matters, which took from what my speech was, some quotes from there. What did I mean? And then why does that happen? And so they went through that dialogue process. And then we met this week to find out how that results were. Every student or every teacher gave an exit slip and wrote down notes. They turned them in so I could read them. So I got to read all the feedback, which was all very positive. And these guys got to hear the small groups and listen to all the feedback and were able to really get a sense of where people are at. So overall, this is a very generally a good place right now of kind of setting the why. And then the implicit bias, I think it's going to be a great training because that's something that all humans have. And it's just an understanding, the more awareness we have as educators about how we, about our biases and so forth, the things that we say, the better we can teach. So I think we're in a good spot.
Our summer board training that we have, there's one section on Dr. Marks, and he's done several organizational associations. He's been a keynote speaker a couple of different times on bias, and he's led summer board a couple of times as well. And he's, as far as my opinion, he's one of the most amazing teachers on implicit bias. And you have a certain kind of looking through that. Probably one of the best people to get people to understand what that might be like. It's a hard conversation to have sometimes, and it's a hard thing to work through. He is absolutely amazing at walking people down that path and working through that and what it looks like. And if you have the opportunity to hear him and have it, and can't recommend any other training more.
The only reason that I bring it up is that the factual on that's something that are actually quite affected by the program. Reached out to.
Well, what program? That's implicit bias.
Yes. So, I took it at face value, for the most part, Brad, and that's why I brought up the question. Because I was wondering, from that standpoint, from each one of the different campuses, the people that are to attend that, it's there's some value there. Just want to make sure that it's working okay. So I went to 2 years ago, summer board conference, doing the equity piece.
Did you get to hear that particular speaker?
Yeah, I was at that, and I bought into that, definitely.
I think he's really.
And it
good.
was all brand new, it was really forthcoming a couple of years ago, where it just really started to develop as far as making sure that, we build equity and diversity into all aspects of the educational process. Really pushing forward and starting to implement all that. I'm just really curious as to whether I've got some grumblies out there.
Well, the feedback that we have on paper and the feedback that our administrators have had are very positive. And the conversations that were taking place were very positive. I think part of the reason we stopped and to pause was, I think there was some, not everybody was understanding why we were going down this or what it necessarily was that we were talking about. And so we needed to stop and say, okay, this is what this means, right? This is what it means. So I was able to share kind of my experience and my value around ensuring all kids are safe and treated equally and so forth and what that means. And then use that as a catalyst for jumping off and having a conversation. And I think anytime you walk down the road of equity, you're going to have that there's fear of the unknown. There's potential for it to, for politics to be involved and so forth. And we understand that there's going to be sometimes some hard feelings or some need for clarity. What we're not about, what equity is not about is shaming money, and it's not about politics. It's about trying to understand multiple perspectives and where they're coming from, and looking at our own practice as educators and seeing how we can grow. And as educators, as people, and have a better understanding of the issues so that we can be more effective and impactful for kids. And so, some of our children come from poverty. Some of them are making some life decisions about who they are and their identity. Some children come from, different backgrounds of race and so forth. So what does that look like in the classroom, and how as a white teacher can we understand and work with all these different lenses and be able to offer safety and support and acceptance for every child. And so at the heart of it, it's about making sure that every child in our school feels like they're a valuable and a great, like a member of the family, child. So that's what we're doing.
I think you hit the nail on it. If I could, the few statements that were brought to me, read, I can definitely categorize that. There were 2 boxes that you mentioned. One is the fear of the unknown and the shame of blank. It's we're kind of a new world these days, and so nobody likes it. That's all I'm going to say.
I would offer, if you have an employee that's new to diversity and equity training, and the trainer, the quality trainer is in a completely different place, or doesn't bring somebody along the path, they're gonna feel beat up, they're gonna feel shame, and I think it's gonna be a harder journey for whoever is in that training. And I've been through a handful of those where I left and I wasn't happy and I was angry, and it was a complete waste of training. And I've had some that were absolutely amazing and transformative. And it was the difference between, helping me open my eyes, helping me understand who I was and helping me walk on that path. And I could see, somebody else that might be from the east side of the state and maybe spends time on a tractor and, maybe see a lot of cultural differences. Somebody that's, you know, in the middle of an urban center, that sees all sorts of differences around them every day. And that person now all of a sudden has a completely different lens because they can walk down something that they understand really, really well. And their eyes are open, like, okay, I get it. And they're not upset that they spent the time. So I would say that sometimes it might be the delivery of it, but it may make a difference for people sitting in these sessions. So hope that it goes better. I've heard some of that feedback as well. Tracy said, and that always hurts because I want people to have good trainings and I want them to come away transformed. And students to have the results of that good training that we were able to serve all our memberships. So I'm glad that this one went better than maybe the last.
I also have sat in many athlete trainings, and some of them have offended me. And I walked out of there thinking, wow, you know, I feel insulted, right? And so I understand that perspective. And it's why sometimes every time when I get together with the Oregon Center for Educational Equity or the RIN, People Education Network, and we sit and talk, we talk a lot about what you just expressed, Melissa, and some of this, you know, this needs to work. This isn't about making somebody feel that way. This is about helping everybody to understand and build a safe environment. And they're fully on board with that. And so the people that are coming to do the implicit bias training next week are already well aware of you know, all the dynamics involved. And I really look forward to it. I think it'll be great.
Glad to hear the word that you put pause, reflect, and evaluate.
The ones we had here, on Thursday last week, I provided you with a facilities improvement plan. And here, and I Tracy, before you meet me up on this, I already taught the Gulen spelling here, okay? Sorry about that. I just learned, you know, last year, I just learned what Gulen was, but you know, and learned.
I know they're expensive.
Yeah, we know that. So anyway, this list represents all of the projects we have identified and are addressing. We applied for a grant to fix many of the items at the high school and are waiting a response. And we're also looking to use some of our ESSER free funds. So remember, we're getting some COVID relief funds, which are coming from the federal government to support schools dealing with COVID. And the use of these funds are pretty broad, and we are looking at the possibility of replacing our heating at the high school, which is old and costly and ineffective. So as you can see, some of these items are labeled critical, and some are necessary, and some are labeled important. Critical items need to be addressed immediately. Necessary items can be done within the next year, maybe two at the outset, but are need to be done. And important items also need to be addressed, but they're not imminent. Also included in this list are all the items that we have fixed in the last couple of years, but at the back of the list. So we look at these. We're trying to not just take one item and then check it off and go down to the next item. We're actually looking at how we can address multiple items using different funding sources. And so just an example of that. You'll see here on the district on page 1. Actually, page 1, please. track resurfacing stadium control tower. It's important, the track resurfacing needs to be done. It's not imminent because there's no one's gonna get hurt in the track, as maybe, you know, if something were to fall down in the school or something. So it's necessary. It's something where it's important. It's something that does need to get taken care of. And so the last time we looked into this, the dollar amount was $250,000. We haven't looked into it in the last, couple of months, so that cost could be higher now. But that's just kind of a ballpark issue there. And so what we've done so far is to, I've asked my staff to put together a GoFundMe account. I talked with the mayor last week, and we're going to start to partner with the community and get some folks from the community helping us fundraise. Putting Kathy in charge of kind of leading the efforts to reach out to different businesses. And we're going to start to see how we can partner both with grants, GoFundMe, and community fundraising so that we can all come together and work on something together as a community. I think once we get this track resurfaced, everybody's going to feel ownership around it, and I think we can really celebrate at that time. So that's just an example of one way we're looking at something in a creative way where we don't have funding for it, but we're trying to find funding for it. Whereas other things, we're looking at grants, and then we're looking at our excise taxes, which go to facilities specifically. And of course, our funding for ESSER, it's still an unknown at this point, but it looks like it's something that could connect because of the heating system and the air vents have to do with health and safety of kids. And so it might be a nice way for us to fix something that really needs to be fixed, and something that normally takes years to manage. So I just wanted to provide that to you. And then I'm going to stop there, and I know we're going to be talking about the storage shed later in the agenda. So, but for now, I just wanted you to see that we have a facilities plan, and that all of the items that our team has identified are on here. Yes.
So a couple of years ago, I thought that we would apply for one of the technical assistance grants, one of the TAPS grants, to have an outside group come in. And that particular one that was mentioned or discussed, they actually come in and they do a facilities overview and they identify your list of capital improvements that can need to be made. They make a priority list. They help you budget, clarify for your list. Was that? I was pretty sure that you did obtain the grant. Did that happen?
It did. In fact, the roof repair and the blue lamps, we didn't hear about the seismic rehabilitation grant application. That group that did that report identified those as being key pieces that need to be fixed. But they also submitted the paperwork for us for the grant. And so we're working with them on, so they did our report. We have a report from them. And that's what the TAP grant was for, but they can't fix anything. They're just there to identify.
Right. So can we have a copy of their report and they identify?
Yep.
Did they do all the campuses?
No, they did the high school and I think they used the high school, huh? Because we have a middle school and we sell that work done in elementary. So it
Well, we had the
was
seismic updates that were going on at that time at the elementary school and
This would have been
the
after
middle
that.
school itself.
I thought that they would have done. They would have also looked here, and then they also would have looked at that. But it was explained to me when I had the presentation on it. They basically explained, like, for a smaller district like us, that they would have looked at the elementary school, they would have looked at the administrative office, even though we were doing work on that middle school, they would have kind of talked to us wide, so.
Our priority was the high school because that's where the most need is, the most critical need. We really wanted to get a sense of our thinking in terms of what we see as priorities based on their expertise and looking and seeing where they were alike. And we know that a lot of the big dollars that right now that we're going to need to put into the district is at the high school, not the other two. And I didn't have a look at the district office because it was.
I mean, like we've got like, this building too, we have, you know, just this kind of, you know, not just. This is part of that. area as well.
Yeah, they didn't include this piece. Was handled by high school.
Was that one per grant spent?
I think so.
We had $20,000 for that, and we spent 18,500.
I would like to see a copy of that before, and I'm curious. And then I was under the understanding also, and I don't see it anywhere on this. And this dates back to when we did the window, or not when we did the windows, but when seismic improvements at JES. We had some outstanding repairs at JES and some issues out there. The windows at JES and the original building and also 1950s updates that aren't heat efficient. Some of the frames don't hold windows very well. I would expect to see stuff like that on there. I know that there's other things that we have in our district that are not on this list that have dollar amounts that probably we can prioritize.
Yeah, I'll talk to the team and we'll look into the windows piece. What we're doing is when we sit and talk, it's like what are the major improvements? What are the areas where we're looking to address and fix? And these are the items that have come up. So could we add other things? I'm sure, but at this point, this is what we're identifying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the heating system at the elementary school, as far as the old windmill fan, and that's on that list too, isn't it, correct? Yeah.
And I don't know if these are the windows you're talking about, but on page 44 and 45 are the things that the district has completed. And on here it says the window replacement in classroom 6 through 9 and a journey. So I don't know if that was what you were talking about.
I've been by there and I haven't seen those windows changed out, so we have to leave that aside because we didn't have money in the budget for their seismic improvement. It was about $150,000, but people buy windows and all of them have been, energy efficient and all that kind of thing. And it's been now probably about 5 or 6 years now as far as planning goes. Actually, 5 years. We didn't have money in seismic, and then we were on the other side of the line. And then we certainly didn't have on money, but then a concern then that we had not only energy efficiency issues, we've had a couple of repairs, but
You done, Brett? With your report?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna move into SIA plan update. Is that Kathy?
It is, and I'm just going to bring you an update of our Student Investment Act plan. But before I start, I just want to say we're very excited that we have this money coming to us that we can use for really valuable things. And we are committed to building a plan that works for our schools and for our community. So it's been fun to reconnect with the stakeholders and to do this plan. And you guys all know what the SIA is because last year we came to you with our plan and you approved it. But there are allowable uses, and those uses are to expand instructional time, to address student health and safety, to reduce class sizes or caseloads, and to provide a well-rounded education. So last year, like I said, many of us provided input into the 2-year biennium cycle, but our plan was written and approved by you in the State Department of Ed prior to COVID. And so some things changed and some of our planning changed. And so we do have to come back to you for approval based on the one tweak that we believe is important to make, and I'll show you that tonight. If you recall, last year, we were allocated $750. COVID hit, it was reduced to $250,000. This year's allotment, $598,000, and next year, $622,000. We think that that's pretty steady and stable funding, especially for this year. So that's what we're budgeting on. Our overarching themes last year, continuing into this year, are reducing class sizes, mental and emotional health support, and special education support, reducing caseloads. Like I said before, those were our overarching themes last year, and they continue to be our overarching themes this year. So I'm going to go through building by building what our suggestion is. I had many meetings with each staff, with the community members, a variety of opportunities. And so I'm going to give you feedback based on those meetings as well. So we'll start at the elementary school. The elementary school believes that the best use of their money would be to reduce class sizes by adding 2 classroom teachers. The number in parentheses is the salary and benefits combined. They really endorse this, and I'll tell you that 98.8% of the survey respondents agreed that adding teachers was the way to go. And here are some of the comments I received in the feedback. This is very needed and the direction we should go. Yes, I've been waiting for this for years. 33 to 35 students in 5th grade or any grade at JES makes it almost impossible to meet each student's needs. We have known for years that class size is a huge thing at the elementary school. I love it. Smaller class size equals less stress, happier teachers, ability to focus on individual students and needs, all great things. So overwhelming support to add classroom teachers to reduce class size. At the middle school, they would like to add an instructional assistant to support and augment the current reset room. A reset room is a place where students go to reset their emotions and behavior. So the reset room staff works with the counselor and the principal and SPED staff to design strategies for students to self-regulate their behavior. You get the drift that being proactive is far better than being reactive. And that's where some of our thinking has shifted. The reset room also serves as the location for in-school suspension and a place where staff helps students catch up on missing work. JMS would also like to add a half-time elective teacher to embellish their elective offerings and provide a well-rounded education. 98% of the survey respondents agreed with JMS's plan, and here are a couple of the comments I received. As a parent and a staff member, I'm very excited about these possibilities. A focused instructional aid that is not pulled in several directions would be great for the reset room. Sounds like the reset room works and needs the support of a person dedicated to making it a success as it is now. At the high school, we talked about a student support specialist. And if you recall, last month, you heard Blaine Lazar talk to you about the student support specialist that we hired in January using current SIA dollars. And this is a portion of the SIA plan because this person has to work on increasing performance targets that we set within the plan. So on-time graduation, fifth-year completion rates, ninth grade on track, regular attendance rates, and other applicable local metrics. We also believe that in an effort to support all students, we need to bring a life skills teacher to the high school. Currently, we have a group of 8 or 9 life skills students who receive half of their education at the middle school. They get to come to the high school for a portion of their day, but we want them there all day. We think it's good for kids, those kids, and we think it's good for the other kids. So you may have noticed that this teacher's salary is a little higher than the elementary salaries, and that has caused question for some people. And it is because special education teachers receive a stipend because of all of the extra work that they do in paperwork and meetings. Some of the comments that we got for this were that we need a reduced caseload. Our current special education teacher at the high school has almost 50 students that he's case managing. And I think that 97.8% of people who responded said that they agreed with this plan. Also, in addition, we would like to ask for some district support, somebody to support the entire district. So we are proposing some additional Trillium support. And if you don't know what Trillium is, Trillium supports our counselors who are directly supporting our students, and Trillium counselors also support our students directly in the area of mental health. 96% of our respondents agreed with adding these extra Trillium support hours. And then a little piece that is a little hard for me to talk about, it's a portion of my salary, which is the SIA oversight, implementation, and accountability. My portion of this will be a 1-year commitment, as you all know, to make sure that everything that we write in the plan is implemented correctly, has the appropriate accountability reports and all of the paperwork filed with the state, and that all transitions go smoothly. I think what sums this up best is a comment that I got from one parent, and I'd like to read that in its entirety. She said, "I am a mother of 2 children in grades 5 and grade 8. I support the decisions made. It is important that each teacher have small groups so that they can support the need of each student and so that their students feel confident in solving their doubts. Also, it is very important to provide one-to-one support to the students. As a mother of a special student, it is good to know that they will have a teacher for the life skills class at the high school. I know the group is small, but they are also part of our community. They want to be included, to learn at their pace and rhythm. And it is of importance to have trained and dedicated personnel in front of the group to be able to develop their potential for many generations to come. And what better way than to work now toward having a good job and to have more students with a diploma. I know Jefferson is small, but by working together, we will make our 3 schools better." That really moved me. What questions do you have for me?
What did we have for response rate on a lot of the surveys before? I mean, how many were sent out, how many were returned?
We had quite a few survey response from our staff, overwhelming responses. But I think because of COVID, we had less response from other stakeholders.
No specific numbers or anything. You can have 100% if you have 2 people.
Yeah, no,
2 people
no.
respond.
Yeah, no,
That's what I'm looking.
we didn't have us 100%, but I can tell you that from the staff, we had 75 responses from the staff. From our community, we held 6 opportunities for people to come to town hall meetings. The attendance was very low. And so the survey responses were very low because I did send a group to the booster club, to all of them, even though 3 people attended. And I think 6 or 8 people responded, even though they hadn't seen the presentation.
We really value the contributions they made, though.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
even though the numbers weren't as what we hoped, we still really appreciated the feedback.
But we did publicize, we gave multiple opportunities. It was the first week of 70-degree weather. And so the turnout just wasn't where I would have hoped it would have been. But I was pleased that the staff was truly supportive.
How much do we currently spend on children?
At $110,000.
Is this an additional 50 or part of the part? I don't always get positive feedback from children, so I'm kind of curious about that relationship.
Another question, Catherine?
I would like a response from that.
Oh, sure.
Our experience is like the opposite. I'm always curious to know, and, and so if you're get people that have a difficult experience, please send them to me. But we find them as a valuable partner in the work that we're doing. And also, the principals have all shared with me that the increase of time has really made a difference this year in working with kids. They are very busy and doing some of the deep work that we just can't do to hold kids together, the whole to do that whole child approach. So I'm thinking they're a valuable partner.
Do you, Carol, if you told staff or parents that might know that their students are having children counselors or
I'm sorry, I couldn't, this is the first part.
you poll teachers or staff that are working with Trillium partners or parents that might have students that are working with Trillium to make sure that those relationships are going well?
No, we don't poll, we just go on anecdotal. If there's somebody who has is upset or has a problem, tells the principal would tell me and or Tracy, we would have a conversation, but at this point, I haven't heard any negative feedback. Like again, if anyone is having a struggle or a negative experience, please have them reach out to one of us so we can help facilitate a resolution.
I think that's a one off here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
One question, Kathy, with respect to the ESIA Academy, what's being proposed, and how the funding is going to be distributed from year to year to year. Are we in the red at any point by approving something like this as a school board?
Yeah.
So we're meeting the financial piece of it.
I understand when we were given and we approved our SIA plan last year, we had been awarded $750,000. And when they cut the amount, we altered our plan to fund what we could afford. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
So we altered it because of funding. So what we're doing is we're approving the funding as they presented it. But if for some reason the state decides not to send us the money, then we will alter what we do with it so we're still in the black.
That's correct.
On that same note, our positions that we recruit for limited duration or possibly that's not very helpful if they're recruiting for a teacher or a position, but if our funding source isn't necessarily sustainable or it's grant, is that specified that it's an SIA position? We need to recruitments that we might not have that funding source down the road.
So we're very upfront with our candidates, so that they're aware of the, in terms of their position, but I have to operate based off of what I'm told from the Oregon Department of Education. And what I'm told is that this is a constant income resource for us for the future. And so what I know for the next 2 years, because they've already allocated that, so I know I'm good for that. Beyond that, I think it's gonna continue, but if it doesn't, and if there's a change, you know, we will adjust. So I think any teacher that's hired with this funding is going to be secure for the coming year and the following. And basically, hope us, we'll have to reevaluate, you know, at that time, to see what our needs are, to see how it's working. I think every year, we're also looking to see, is the plan that we put in place the same plan that we want to have the following year? So in some positions, I mean, the working, yes, you want to keep them, others maybe you want to shift or change. Maybe you want to lower some trillion or increase some trillion or whatever. So we're going to do that evaluation piece each year, but part of the evaluation piece is also looking and talking with the federal, the state government and saying, you know, what does our funding source look like for the coming year and allocations? But I'm feeling pretty secure that we're going to be in good shape to make hires.
We entertain a motion to accept updated SIA plan.
I move to accept the student investment account update is presented.
Okay, there's a second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the student investment account plan update as presented. All in favor, Tracy?
Discussion.
Well, is there any discussion? Tracy?
Aye.
Dude? Aye. Okay,
Right.
Melissa?
Aye.
Okay, chair votes aye. Passes. Okay, board self-evaluation. Okay,
It was coming up as we get the name, that we would be evaluating ourselves again, and contacted OSBA. To talk about doing the same basic report that we did last year, with simplified standards for school boards. If we do the basic report where we're given the summary on the data for the 5 standards, that continues to be free. Or we can opt to do where they do a presentation of the indication from the report. And for a $500 for a 2-hour facilitated discussion about the data. So, yes, what we choose to do.
okay, so what's your guys' pleasure? Do we want to do what we did last year, or do we want to spend $500 and 2-hour work session?
I'm not super comfortable with the level of detail we got out of the report.
Say it in the subset.
I'm still not particularly comfortable with the level of detail we get back out of this modified tool compared to the tool we developed before, which is about a little more information about how we operate as a board and what we might need to do. So, and spending money on it. I think the survey, but I would just comment that once, like, this is enough information for us to, you know, get farther as a group. So,
Anybody else?
So as I understand what you're saying is that the information we're getting back is cost effective.
yeah, I hope for more, and I hope that we should do more with it as a board. And I don't feel like it is as granular as we grow. I think we give it a tiny little bit of information. And I don't think it comes back to us in a very useful form. I love my OSBA, I'm on the board, but,
So do we want to, how do we want to proceed with this thing?
I figured what we would do if, unless we wanted to do the 2-hour workshop at the end and have someone lead us in the discussion, we would just go ahead and do the after the middle of May, we would do that. Everybody would do it online and we'd have it for the June meeting.
Is that really okay?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
and I would point out too, probably because of COVID, we didn't really get to work on our board, everything was disrupted, we didn't get to do our board goals, and stuff. We didn't do our board work, and
No.
we really missed a lot of our work last year, so.
Okay, so then we'll plan that in.
And I will contact our representative here and
Okay,
make arrangements for it to be out after our next board.
okay, and
Then we'll get the results back.
then we'll get
so
the
they'll be
results
for
and you
June.
can have a work session, discuss it,
We can't have a work session to discuss it, or we can share it at the board meeting.
either way. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, superintendent goals. Oh, excuse me. Go ahead,
Make a
Amber.
motion on that to approve the OS, are you guys gonna make a motion to approve the OSBA free? Is that what you went with, or are you gonna?
I don't think we need to make a motion, do
We're not expending any money.
Okay, perfect.
we? So Brad, superintendent goals.
We were talking about setting up a work session.
Remind me what, now what?
We need to set up a work session to do that.
Hey, let's make a calendar then.
That's why it's on here, so we can get time.
That's what we were talking about.
Yes.
Okay, a couple weeks ago, remember I asked you about that? Okay, so we need to have a work session date this month for, sit down with, us as a board and Brad to work out his superintendent goals for next year, what we're gonna evaluate them on. Amber,
On April 22nd, we have the budget training,
correct.
keep that in mind.
I saw that in the back. So, what date works out for you guys? We need to get this goal, figured out by the end of the month.
How long the budget training?
So an hour and
Is it 6:30? It says
Yeah,
6:30
it's
today.
6:30.
Can we find another time next week? My last week of the month is complicated with a certain math.
Like, okay, how about, what does Tuesday or Wednesday look like for you guys next week?
Wednesday is when I go to church.
Okay,
I have a conflict with that stuff.
how about Tuesday?
Next Tuesday doesn't have anything on the calendar, share present time with it, but.
I can change real quick.
It's pretty open.
Okay, so let's have a tentative date of Tuesday, at the 20th. What's better, well, I don't want to do 6, because every time we do 6, somebody thinks it's 6:30.
Well, we always do our work sessions at 5:30.
At 5:30, can you guys do 6:30 on the, okay, let's do 6:30 on the 20th. And that's to set up the goal or goals for evaluation for next year.
Do something else.
And also after Wednesday, this week, an agenda will go out, so people know if there's anything else that's been added to it.
Yeah, if there's anything else, right. Kay's right. If there's anything else that we're going to put on that agenda, well, we can talk about it then too.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kay. So, the storage shed.
Thank you. I asked Raymond to join me on this presentation. Maybe you mind joining me over here?
You want my chair, Ray?
You can.
Oh,
So I wanted to talk tonight about one of the necessary items on our list. And as you saw, I included a Q&A in our board packet on this and kind of talked and answered, tried at least to answer as many questions as I could as to kind of why. I'm asking the board to support the building of the shop using a combination of loan funds and excise tax funds. And the reason we need the shop built is because we have equipment that continually gets vandalized. Raymond has to keep one of our trailers and pick up at his place. In fact, because every time we left it here, it got vandalized. The gas line gets cut, siphoned, and it's a regular occurrence to the point where we can't leave vehicles out. So obviously the district can't afford to continue to deal with vandalism and equipment that doesn't work. So we need to find a solution. The shop, as you recall, was planned prior to my being here. It was something that was in the works, and some of the material was purchased at that time. And since I've been here, there have been quite a few other items that we've had to work on, and sort of has taken priority. And as you saw in the back of the facilities list, all those items that we've taken care of. And then, of course, all the bond construction and all those pieces that we were in the middle of. And so now that all of that's done, and we're looking at this list, it's pretty important for the fact that we have somebody in Raymond who has the expertise, who can build it. We have a team that can do this, during our work hours. We have OSB and brackets and 6x6s and all the metal sidings and glue lambs, and the asphalt's already cut. So a lot of the material, a lot of the things are already in place, just sitting there waiting. And so what we need to do, Raymond estimates that it's about a $40,000 to complete the project. And I would love to, I brought Raymond here to answer any questions that I can't. And I hope you had a chance to look at the Q&A, but I feel that if we don't do this now, then we run the further risk of not being able to do it later, or if we do it later, then it's a lot more expensive. And at some point, we cannot continue to keep district vehicles at Raymond's place, which we're really grateful that it is now as a solution, but that's not a long-term solution for us. And so what we're really needing to do is to look at resolving this. And we feel that now is the time to have this conversation. I just want to entertain thoughts.
Is there any questions?
Yes. So, when this came up last time, my concerns, community concerns. First off, I'll just say that it felt like a little bit of an ambush to the board and to the community. That was a different administration, obviously. I feel like the board was kind of a one-way, and in a really short amount of time, this kind of got slipped around. Plans were made, purchases were made, and then the next thing we know, it was like, well, it's too late. We have to build it now. And and I feel like we have space out there that our students still use where the planned location for this is. We used it for tailgates in non-COVID times. When I've been here for track meets or Friday night lights or whatever, there's kids using that space, even just bouncing balls around. So while they're not the best basketball courts or tennis courts or whatever, as far as I'm concerned, it's still a valuable kid play space that in this community is absolutely key. So that absolutely is a hard space in my heart that I can't get around. And then the second space that I have is like coming from the county aspect, I understand that we need to protect our assets. We need to make sure that they're secure. I don't want to make sure, I want to make sure that our equipment is vandalized. You know, that gas lines aren't cut, we aren't filling stuff if we're not bringing gas out. But every public works that I know, with the exception of maybe the mothership for the sheriff's department, are kept behind chain link, right out here into the courtyard, and they're locked up, and they might have cameras on. So what I'm trying to work around is like, why the trailer, you know, can't be kept out here and we extend chain link, you know, in this little daycare area. I know that area, you know, that trailers are pulled in and out of there because, you know, that stuff's access. So I don't know why the trailer can't be kept there and you can put a camera on it. And the loader tractor isn't kept in the shop or maybe the truck's kept out there. So to build a structure to house things that are normally kept behind fences with maybe a camera, you know, behind the padlock, is really hard for me to wrap my mind around when I see a list of other facilities items or know that we have priorities that benefit our students. And I feel as a parent, as a community member, as a board member, those are more critical. And I don't want to value that I know we need to take care of equipment and make sure it's not damaged or vandalized. I know we have equipment that needs to be replaced. And I kind of want to replace maybe some of those vehicles that are aging more than I want by building to put them in. But I don't want to give up that real estate that the kids use. And I want to find an option that's successful. So I know we already bought the trusses. I know they've been sitting. We might already have OSD, which right now on the open market's running about $50 a sheet. If we had to buy it, it's not already bought. And I know that there's costs put into it, but I feel like there's other priorities that I should better spend with that money. And you know, the community probably feels that way. I know that kids showed up and went to go play ball and bounce around there. That would probably cause some grief as well. That's what I would say.
And can you clarify when you say, I mean, you spoke as the board there, that we felt ambushed. I need you to say which administration you're talking about, the current administration or the previous administration, because.
This hasn't.
Okay, I'm just saying that's the word you use, so I'm trying to understand it, Melissa.
So this hasn't come up. This hasn't come up with paper. This came up with pen.
Okay.
It was presented during. I'm gonna roll way back.
Yeah.
This didn't come up in our budget that many years back, and then in that interim time between Ken's resignation and when he actually left, a whole bunch of things happened where this got moved on. I don't know if you were.
That's where, well, no, I was in that part of it and everything, and I remember that part of it. I was just trying to clarify which administration you were feeling, you know, that we felt ambushed, and I didn't feel ambushed in it. Did I know there was other things going on at that particular time?
So
Sure.
you knew that was happening, that a whole bunch of stuff was happening in the district office, and then.
Yes, so that's why I wanted to clarify so that it's, you know, basically on tape is who we're talking about here. I mean, which administration we supposedly felt ambushed on.
Okay, so I didn't want to put words in your mouth, but I thought that we as a board had that
Well, you did.
discussion. I thought that we as a board had that discussion those years ago.
Okay, well, maybe we did, but I don't remember feeling ambushed at any particular point.
Okay, well,
You know, we were already on target moving forward with the decisions with our previous superintendent.
Well,
So we keep going back to the past, we gotta move forward here.
Right, well, this isn't a moving forward, we're literally revisiting this thing that we stopped.
I
because
understand it.
We weren't prepared for it, and there were issues with it, so. There's still the same issues.
We took care of a lot of the issues
No,
right out of the gate.
the issues are still there because,
Your concerns are still there with
okay,
space,
there's still
with
space.
cost, other
Right.
things like this. That's what I'm trying to get to is what the underlying agenda is and what your concerns are.
So you-
But I want you to know you're speaking your concerns, not the board's concerns.
Okay, so my return back, if the board had concerns about, and isn't it valid? You can go back and say, you can go back and.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to get them out here now, so we have this, trying to have this discussion, because that's where we're at, is under the discussion part of this. So
Okay, well, you can have the discussion. I apologize for putting any words in your mouth. You can share
Thank you.
all of your positive opinion about it.
oh, put more words in my mouth. Everything's gonna be positive. Okay.
That's enough.
Hold on here. So that we're doing this properly. I move to accept the construction of the storage facility not to exceed 45,000 using construction excise tax and loan proceeds, so that we may move forward with discussion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to. Now you put the glasses on. Then moved and seconded to accept the construction of the storage facility not to exceed $45,000 using construction, excise tax, and loan proceeds. Okay, is there any more discussion? Okay.
I'm just gonna look back to last summer. How large is the CPE barn? How many square feet is in that barn?
Oh, up there?
FFA barn?
FFA barn is 3,600, 60 by 60.
Okay, how large will the shed be in comparison?
There is 44 by 60. So you're looking at 24, 28, 2,800 roughly.
About 800 square feet difference.
Well, yeah, smaller.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the time spent building the FFA?
We got it done a little under 2 months.
And so the projected time span, if the shed is built, is
Pretty much the same thing, 2 months. I mean, if we get started earlier, we're not gonna have everybody going until after school lets out. So there's a lot of stuff we have done already. So I don't, actual time-wise, it's gonna be about the same.
I have no questions.
Raymond, is there any alternate location that would suit to build this structure without increased costs for electrical supply, plumbing,
No, that is by far the best spot for this.
the location where it was planned for previously?
Right.
Okay. What, in your mind, is the approximate cost savings, Raymond, off of that for district staff to be putting forth the effort to construction of this versus hiring a contractor to come in and perform?
The barn up there cost us 38,000 roughly, and it's worth about 80,000, so you're about half. So yeah,
50% increase.
Yeah.
Okay.
this might be just a shade higher in that we can't put metal on the roof. It's got a 112 pitch, so we have to go with TPO.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to use TPO. The exterior cladding on the for siding, what's the proposal on that?
The siding on the is metal. The
Yes,
metal's right out here by the what we call woody shop yet.
and that's what we've already purchased.
Correct.
And you were able to stop the trusses from being
Yeah.
purchased?
Yeah, we called Doug at BJ's the morning, as soon as Dave the botany called Scott and I in. We called BJ's and he said they were gonna start them that afternoon had I not called.
Okay. And with regards to building permits, existing previously issued building permits.
We have the same permit we're gonna have to take back in. The last one cost 2,600. I'm guessing this one isn't gonna be that much because they've already got it done, but they might charge us the exact same amount.
I hope it's just a reinstatement fee if the board approves it. So. So we have no other location that would suit. Constructed. From the standpoint of electrical provisions, that would be the big deal.
Right, electrical anywhere else. But here you just got something, this wall. Hook it right in.
Okay, and I noticed that there is fencing within this proposal also.
12 feet high all the way around,
12 feet
where
high.
it's, where it's not right now, with a 20-foot roller gate.
And what's going to prevent people from climbing that fence and getting over the top of it into the storage yard?
Hopefully the lights, put up 2 big lights out there right now, but Dave Novotny wanted us to put razor wire on top. Said it was a good idea, but supposedly for the state of Oregon, school can't do that.
Well, I was going to ask, what's our insurance company say about that?
No,
So is there going to be cameras out there?
yes, Chris Shaw's in on that, so.
And how much, when it comes to the equipment that you guys currently have, I myself being an equipment owner, but what's your assessment about storing the equipment outside of what the sun, the rain, and everything else does to it as far as
Well, the only
hydraulic
thing,
hoses, the health and welfare of that piece of equipment that gets
I mean,
stored
it's-
outside, not inside.
right, the only thing that's going to be major right now is going to be the tractor, the backhoe. If the district gets another pickup. You know, you got a rotary mower out there, you got a set of forks out there, you got a bucket out there. And one other thing, but backhoe, there's 5 things we got there. Anyway, those are pretty much metal. I mean, it is better to have them inside, but they can get by. You'll have some rust on them from raining.
Any more, Rich?
No, I don't think so.
So is there a drawing of this building somewhere?
I have the old blueprints.
Okay,
On my desk.
I just don't remember clear back seeing it and the rest of it and how it's, you know, what we're doing with it and that stuff. My other question would be what happens to these buildings out here? You know, when I mean, that's there, I mean, how are they gonna be repurposed or down? What's our plan for that?
Right now, I mean, Brad can probably talk to that too, but right now the district has no storage anywhere. We've got the 2 mods left down there that I've got a ton of stuff in them right now, but the building, the old food storage, I guess, off the back of the elementary school, you can't hardly even walk in there. So, yeah, Parks and Rec still has the end bay. But the rest of it, we have our pump in there, but we move out there, so, yeah, just district storage.
You know, you drive around, I drive around a lot in this valley, you go past a lot of schools, there is a school out there that doesn't have storage shed of some sort. You know, you drive past Sile, you go in the back end there for the state, and you can see all the buildings, you know, that they have the storage equipment in and stuff like that. You go to Cascade, go past Cascade, you see, I mean, they got huge amount of storage in there, and I know that we don't have hardly any other than what we have right here in the storage that you might see behind the high school that the shop has, you know, and that is a fence and that is gated, but I know people have still gone over top of that to vandalize the equipment over there. You know, anytime that we spend money in the district, we always have to think of it as a board that are we doing the right thing? You know, we hire new people, our administration. Raymond and, you know, our principals to make the best judgment call that we can do. And what, you know, I know we have this facility improvement plan that that everybody looks at, everybody talks about, and trying the best way possible. And, you know, even though I don't like to spend money, I understand that it needs to be done sometimes, because in the long run, you're protecting your equipment and you're making it last longer. So, is there different ways to do it? Probably. It could be 100 different ways, just like there's 100 different ways to plant a garden. But I appreciate the work that you guys put into this, you know, and I like the way that we're doing it this time. So I'm for it 100%. So are there any other comments or questions? If not, we have a motion on the floor. I will reread it. And it's been moved and seconded to accept the construction of the storage facility not to exceed $45,000 using construction, excuse me, excise tax and loan proceeds. So Tracy?
Aye.
Dewey? Aye. Okay,
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Great, chair votes aye. Motion passes. Okay, E. So Melissa had some questions on the health and safe school plan update. So we took it out and put it under E. Melissa,
Yeah, so
is there a page that you're talking about?
well, I was just wondering if you could, maybe put that up and walk us through that. We haven't had, lead or radon report in a few years, and, it's kind of a big deal. So I was wondering if you could walk us through that for both, I know we can read it, but, one of the board trainings that I went through with, or the health authority, really hammered this. And, you know, so I'm just hoping you could walk us through it on the record. And I actually thought that we had to be testing a little bit more frequently than this, so that was kind of a surprise as well. So, yeah, that's the plan, so I really appreciate that.
Melissa?
Huh?
We need to take a break.
Oh, sure.
Right, we're gonna take a 5-minute break and rain it and go home.
Could you tell us we can go? You told Ray. Tell us.
You guys know. See, you're familiar with your faces.
Yeah, it just did today. Rare, yeah. I like the job of Fox City. We've got the concrete slab. And a footing. Concrete slab. And footing.
Oh, good.
This next one, that's. Hopefully I can get that.
Yeah, I just get it.
Before the 26th. In there with my equipment. Get the, put around it and get it back to. Otherwise, I last year, 4 foot wide chip. It's just not.
And we learn from the video.
You need to put that finger down and do that. Just like that. Sounds good.
Everybody said it.
I hated that I had to do 2 minutes tonight and that's it out. Last year from a guy, like they both came up and we. You want to get those positions for the SIA. Posted now. There's a lot of competition.
But I just took 2 inches off this baby. I hadn't shaved in a long time. You know,
Okay,
this,
that makes more
this
sense.
other
Yeah,
thing
it
that I
makes
see
more
up
sense.
here,
So that's their plan
we have this new track.
to add to what they already have. So that one will be easy. But an elementary teacher needs a bunch of those.
Yes.
Why don't you gotta-
Because this was on, it's significant.
No, we can't. I've been looking for this for a year.
Then
Going big or going home?
Something else will come up.
Does that make sense? I was Steve's down in San Diego looking at boats and they keep getting more and more expensive. Sorry.
I was there,
Bigger and bigger.
I was there this morning.
Sorry.
Okay. Right up
I know.
We lost our signal, is that what you said?
No, I was just taking us off of mute.
Okay. Okay. So, Melissa, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
I guess I'll ask my question and then maybe Brad can respond and then, before, do the action thing, we need to. I have a question before we get to the discussion part, I guess. So I had a leadership Oregon training from the Oregon Health Authority, which is now been 4 years ago, but it would have been after this legislation was passed. And they really hammered how boards were supposed to work through these results and schedules and everything. And I recall it to be a little more comprehensive and a little bit more compressed. So the last thing that we actually got was maybe a lead test, which has been quite a few years back.
The lead in the water.
Yeah, the lead and water. And that was a big deal because Portland had, Portland kind of went through some stuff, which kind of got a little bit excited. So I just this, maybe Brad could respond to that. So I'm not doubting that this is the proper form. I was just told by OHA that to kind of look for something different, and to look for something a little more comprehensive. And as being the approver of that, you know, maybe us board members that attended that feel like you're the board, you really need to be honest. So, anyway.
This came about recently. Raymond has been working with ODE on submitting the results. And this plan represents this was the old plan that was in the district, and it's been updated. So it's still, it's the same format as we used and got approved before. And we showed it to ODE the last week before, and you know, showed them the updated pieces to it. Raymond's been in contact with ODE and with the results and all that, and they said this looks great. They're going to be working on a new template coming up here pretty soon that he says he would like us to put this on our website, and everything is approved. It looks good. Just need to have it go see the board and then put it on your website. But he says they're working on a new template that's a little easier for parents to be able to understand, you know, what it's going to look like. So they're going to be working on that at the state level. This is the end of our cycle. This starts actually a new cycle, so we'll have 6 years before we have to submit another one. As I understand, is that correct?
So this testing, the next scheduled test is going to be this year. And so we have to, it has to be updated every 6 years. When this last got updated was when Kent and Karen were here. So ODE recently contacted us and said, hey, this is the year it needs to be updated. I've gone through what you guys already had on your website, and I have gone over it. I've approved it. I'm going to send it to you. Now you just need your board to approve it. Exactly what is it.
Should we be seeing the radon plan and those granular pieces as well?
Not inside of here, but when we get the testing after it gets completed, I'm not sure exactly when it's scheduled. Raymond could speak to that more. That's when you guys will get those results. Because it is, as you can see on page 13, the next scheduled test beginning a 6-year schedule, which is this year. And so they'll be tested this year, and you guys will get the results from that.
Any other questions, Melissa?
No.
Anybody else have any other questions?
And so I'm assuming that I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Sorry.
I'm assuming that the radon testing as well as the water testing work hand in hand, a 6-year cycle.
Yes,
Is
that's
that
what
correct?
Raymond was just telling us, yes.
Okay.
And this time he's not, the last time he did testing, it was a lot more extensive because of what was going on in Portland, I think. And after they did all the testings on every single spigot here in the district, they determined that some didn't need testing again. And so he's not going to have to do as many as he did last time, which is good. But they'll all be labeled so that like the state can see, oh, okay, we have something wrong with, you know, label, he has to label every single thing in the district. So the state could automatically know if he said, okay, it's number 2484. They'll know it's at the district, in this bathroom, in this location, all that good stuff. That's another thing that had to be done, I think, last year, but that's something that's all been being worked on.
I think they even had a test non-potable sources.
What,
Like
sorry,
everywhere.
I think they even had a test non-potable sources. I remember
Yeah.
that last report.
Yeah. I was at the elementary school and some of that testing was, and I was scratching my head as to why they're testing.
It's
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
things.
So I guess my question from that is, this is ODE's recommendation, the six-year thing? And I'm
Yeah.
sure they're probably following the state mandate for those things too.
Yeah,
You know, so, I mean, that would be my only concern is that we're following within the regulations, because I think that's what Melissa was speaking to was.
Yeah.
Maybe it was supposed to be more than that, and which one, who were we getting our
Right, and
information from?
It was Oregon Public Authority that came in and delivered the radon and lead.
For the LCR test, lead and
Yeah,
copper.
information. And it's always fun when you have an agency person coming in, telling you how you're supposed to do things. As a single board person, y'all know we don't really have a lot of oversight and control over that, and we're always dependent on that information does come to us, so. And then, as long as I've been on the board, the only things that will come out for me to see so far is the lead. I've not seen the radon report, so.
Yeah, I remember when the testing was going on, I know that memory serves me correctly, and I believe it was just reported during the course of a board meeting. And again, this is, pre, Brad, his tenure here. But I remember that we did have some failure rates out there, and those had to be addressed and remedied, or completely taken out of service.
Oh, and the radon.
No, the lead. The lead in the
Yeah, I
water.
thought we actually passed all. We were within.
Eventually, yes, but the option was corrected or completely taken out of service, so. And I don't remember exactly what the report was, but I know that we did have some that did not initially pass, is what I remember. What I think
Okay, no further discussion. I'll entertain a motion to accept this plan.
I move to accept the Jefferson School District, the Healthy and Safe School Plan. For April 2021.
Got a motion for a second? I'll second it. Okay, moved and seconded to accept the health and safe school plan update. So, we'll take a vote here. Melissa?
Aye.
Okay,
I
Dewey? Aye. Tracy?
I,
Chair votes aye. Board comments. So, do we have any board comment? Tracy?
listen,
Melissa?
Public.
Yeah, that's next.
Good deal.
Melissa?
No.
Okay.
I did look and I saw that instead of a summer camp in Bend, they are doing 4 basic days board training throughout the month of July on 4 different days.
Online.
Online, they're virtual workshops.
Zoom meeting or something.
Yes, so I didn't look at exactly what they were. I do know the first one in July was basically, it would have been the beginning training for new board members.
Anything else? Okay, so one comment I have is, again, I just want to reiterate how important our teachers are. That was Teacher Appreciation Week coming up. Without our teachers, we would be nothing in school. And, as a board, we value you and all your work that you do. I just want to thank you for all the time, all of our labor. Sorry about all the inconveniences, but you guys have mastered them, and I am so proud of you.
I'll amend that. Thank you, Kathy, for the presentation of the CTE,
CTE.
as well as for the SIA. Good information, Kathy. Thank you.
Okay, and with that, do we have any audience?
Well, I didn't have any audience sign up, but I did get a question inside of the chat.
What is the question?
The question asks, why does a storage barn need electricity?
Why does the storage barn need electricity?
Yeah, I'm gonna answer that.
Go ahead, Chris.
Storage barns are also confined workspaces that require heating and cooling. You also need to have lighting on the inside of it, enhanced lighting, to be able to safely and be able to perform your duties and any repairs on the equipment that is necessary. You also need electricity for your security cameras. Those are just general reasons why you need electrical provisions inside of a storage structure.
Thank you, Tracy. Are there any other comments from the audience? Cameron?
No, that was the only one I see, and I didn't have any emails or anything.
Okay,
Let me check one more time.
so while you're checking, I just want everybody to look, the board to look on the back there about the next meeting. So the budget committee training and review is April 22nd. So we have the 20th, we have a meeting, and then the next regular session is going to be May 10th, and then the budget committee meetings start on May 12th.
And then all the, do you know if all the positions have been filled for
Yes.
the budget committee?
They have it. Okay, with that, Amber, with that, we're going to adjourn this meeting at 8:35. Thank you all. So,
Oh, yeah, I'll take it.